Alright guys, we have finally got hold of a Toyota GR86. These cars is very rare in New Zealand. It's actually quite hard to get hold of one to do a bit of filming. So we will go for a drive today. We'll give down a little review how the car drives, some of the engine spec, and also I haven't driven this car for a while. The last time I drove it was on a Toyota GR day. Some people call them a kakapo. They are very rare and it's almost extinct. There's a lot of GT86 because they're a lot more affordable. These cars are still quite expensive at the moment, but the price has come down. It's one of the latest rear-wheel drive sport car that still has 6-speed manual, still got a handbrake, and also very fun to drive. We won't go in depth about this car or doing a full review. There's a lot of that story done on the internet. The car's actually been around for about 2 or 3 years. But what we'll talk about is the difference between the new model GR86 and the GT86 starting from the engine. The low-down pickup, as I mentioned before, in the mid-range is much better compared to the FA20 in the last model of GT86. The FA24 does have 30 horsepower more and also 30 foot-pound more of torque compared to FA20. We used to rev the FA20 to 6,000 RPM for maximum torque, but the new FA24 peaks a lot earlier, roughly around 4,000 RPM. But it's a totally different engine compared to a FA20 and the GT86. Actually, this is a perfect swap for an older 86, which is they're common to die at high mileage, mainly with warm bearings. Also, the FA24 is also dual injections, meaning it runs both direct injections, spraying directly into the cylinder, and also has the port injection, which is sprayed from the intake manifold and flows down into the cylinder head. There are a few advantages running this setup. A direct injection at low RPM will give a lot more response and clean burning, but at the higher RPM, the fuel is mixed much more optimized with the port injection. Well, let's look at the interior. The control panel down here for the air fence itself is quite easy to use. The dash is really cool, it's digital. There's a startup screen. And also when you turn into track mode, it will disable traction control, but it also switches to another screen with shift light, temperature of your water, oil, and also has a built-in lap timer. All the stuff you need for track, it's all there. One more thing should add, an oil pressure gauge will be awesome. Well, the rain's coming, so we'll make a move and we'll go for a drive. So we're now out in the country road. This is the first time I've actually driven the 86 out in this kind of road and condition. The last two 86 I've driven was on the track this year. The clutch on these are quite light. There is no auto blip on the down change, so everything is still manual. The flywheel on these cars are quite heavy, so when you're changing down low, there's a bit of a rev hang. Some people like it, some people don't. I don't mind it myself, but once you upgrade the clutch and flywheel, that problem's going to go away. When the throttle closes, it doesn't close sharp like a conversional cable because these are drive-by-wire throttle. The handling of these cars, it's really good. Compared to the GT86, the wheelbase and the tyre from factory is a lot wider. For the money you pay, it's really value for money. Well, I reckon anyway. In a similar car, a BMW M2, there's a lot more money, of course, it's a lot more power, but the fun behind the wheel when comparing both cars is about the same. The 86, you can actually drive it a lot more aggressive compared to the M2 due to its less power, so you can pretty much foot flat everywhere around the track. The M2, you still have to be quite constitutive, so it's quite easy to get the step out. The 2.4 engine, it's awesome. Like through these winding road at the moment, we're in 6th gear. We don't really have to down change for it to pick up speed. The FA20, the older engine, you have to really rev it before it starts moving. Most of the people that buy these cars will expect the road noise, the rattle, not much, but of course it's never as quieter as a European car. We're very fortunate to borrow this car from RM. He hasn't done much mods on it. The only option at the moment upgraded is just a X-Force exhaust. He only bought this car mid last year. After driving this car for a few minutes around the corners and twisty bits, the car handles really well. It flows through the corners really well from factory. Only thing, as always, just like my own cars, the brakes probably need a bit of an upgrade. Probably a bigger brake kit in the front will be good, or even just better pads. Because after a few hard braking, we do have a bit of brake fade. But the new engine of the GR86 is a lot better than GT86. With the extra 400cc capacity increase, the low range torque pickup is a lot better. As you can see, going through these twisty bits here, staying in 3rd gear, there's a lot of torque. Even in 4th, you can actually drive around quite easily. Well, driving this car compared to the car that we're building will be probably different, but the characteristic of the car should be very similar. There's just going to be more power, better brakes, more aero, and also more grip.